how do you see what's happening to Pakistan cricket team, Pakistan cricket, and therefore the reaction to that in Pakistan?
Okay, Geeta ji, let me tell you one thing. When a child is born, it does not mean the mischief happened the night before. It takes 9 months for a child to be born. So likewise, today, the performance of the team that you see in India, that is not the result of something that happened yesterday. So this decline has been going on for a certain period of time. So Pakistan का problem ये आज का नहीं है. It has been having we've been having it for some time, and now the problem is that every cricketer, or not every cricketer, that's unfair, untrue, but a lot of cricketers, they only see cricket as a means to money and stardom. They forget the passion of the game, the love of the game, and what really triggered them off, and how good it can be, and they concentrate on those things. And that is a story that I did on Inzaman Ul Haq. That Inzaman Ul Haq, along with his brother Mohammed Rizwan and another friend, they opened a company, a shell company in UK, and I gave the addresses and the company shareholding of the on YouTube as well. They have another company, the same guy who's partners with Imran. They have another company called Saya Corporation, and Saya Corporation is a athlete management company and the player management company, and just one company has about 7 players in it. So now those 7 players, certainly the night before they were supposed to depart for the World Cup, they start blackmailing the chairman of the board, and the chairman of the board himself, as if he needed any blackmailing, because he was there by default and he was going to be removed anytime, and he had this court order hanging onto his head. And in fact, today may be his last day, or tomorrow may be his last day, as per the contract. So he agreed to everything, and part of that player agreement is, Geeta ji, that these people, they get sponsorships and they get commercial deals and all that, and the sponsors in return, they are probably promised that these people will play and they will be a part of the playing 11 and all that. So whether they deserve or not, which you can see for a number of players in the Pakistan team over there, that there are replacements. There were better replacements for them, and Pakistan team could have performed much better. But the thing is that players were chosen for different reasons. That is what I believe. I'll give you one example. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that Indian wickets will be helpful for spinners and slow bowlers. And Pakistan never took a proper classical spinner with them, and especially in the team, they relied on the strength of the pacers, and certainly that was exposed. That was exposed like a schoolboys team. So that's no secret. So this is a series of incidents that has been happening.
You have talked about it in your podcast video, or YouTube videos that you make regularly. I wanted to ask you to take us through, because you've named the companies that are based out of UK, where Inzaman Ul Haq is a shareholder, and he was also then the chief selector.
It is very simple. Ever since Inzamam has been in and out of the board, there have been question marks on his conduct. And then Inzamam, along with, at that time, earlier, I know that fingers were pointed at Saeed Anwar. So it started off from that time. And then if you recall that players like Salman Butt and Muhammad Amir and Muhammad Asif, they were embroiled in spot fixing, and they were even fined for that and penalized for that.
True.
In the PSL, now PSL has been sort of charged with a lot of allegations and accusations, because you see, as per the laws of Pakistan, as per the rules of the country, we can't have betting companies over here, and we can't bet. But if you see the last PSL, and if you check out the logos on many team players, you'll see that some betting company is sponsoring them, and they're carrying their logos as well. And then And then you saw those ads and advertisements on television, the Ministry of Information and the PAMRA and the Sensible. Everybody was ignorant or silent or about it, or pretended not to look at it. So, I mean, when officially betting companies and these cartels, they sort of take over the only product of your domestic cricket, and you see these betting syndicates in the PSL itself sponsoring the team. So the players would never think it's a wrong thing, or it's a bad thing, or it's illegal. I mean, I don't blame some of them because they don't have the exposure, as I told you. It just never started yesterday, like I said. I mean, it started a long time back, and Inzamam has been a shady person for many reasons. I believe that. I know him personally, but I know it hurts. It pains a lot for me to say that. He's been a Pakistan superstar, and I adore his cricket, and I love the way he played cricket, and I thought he was flamboyant and all that. But somewhere he lost that passion for cricket and developed this love for the worldly goods. And then there were others involved, like Imam Ul Haq. I mean, he's related to Inzamam, he's very close relative. And then Saklan Mushtaq's son-in-law in the team and all that. So the whole, I mean, it's a very, very intricate web.
But Mr. Lakman, I just need to take you back a little bit. You've been mentioning this earlier. We know that in this whole region, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, there was this whole eruption of match fixing and spot fixing, and all of that was happening since 1994. In fact, and we've dealt with it here. South Africa dealt with it with Hansi Cronje. You had a Justice Qayyum report had come out where Inzamam Ul Haq was named. Now, my thing is that if you have a person who's been named and who had some of the players actually came out and said that, look, he was the person who was doing it, along with the others, 6, 7 others who've been named since then. I'm trying to figure out why would he be made a PCB, selector, because you had Mr. Najam Sethi who was there, and then they removed him unceremoniously within 6 months.
Now, Justice Qayyum report that you just referred to, it practically named everyone. Anil, 10 players were named in it, and actually cricketers, 2 cricketers who were the whistleblowers, they were the ones actually who never got a job, and they were the ones who never got back into the PCB, and they were the ones who never played. In fact, one of them, a sad story, still, I mean, for the last 10, 15 years, he's been driving an Uber in London. So that is what we did to a cricketer who was a whistleblower, and that was a lesson for everyone. And the other one, he could never get up. And then the one person was chosen as a scapegoat, which was Salim Malik. And Salim Malik was blamed for everything left, right, and center, and everything between the sun and the moon. Whereas Salim Malik may or may not have been guilty, but the fact of the matter is that he wasn't in it alone. And you know it, I know it, everyone knows it. Now, the fact of the matter is that Salim Malik has tried to blow the whistle many times. Even in my shows, he's come. And he's confessed about that. Amit Sohail has, been on my show and made serious accusations. But obviously, aap ye dekhen ke even yesterday in the morning, I got a call from a friend of mine, and he said, ke, please watch out. These mafias are huge mafias, whether they are in Pakistan, India, or South Africa, wherever. I mean, and they have resource, and they have politicians, and they have police, and they have law enforcement on their side, and they can harm you if you keep on going after them. So this is the kind of weight that the betting or the match fixing mafia has, Geeta. I'm sure it does in India as well. But after that, none of those players, I mean, Akram was named. Akram is a part of the selection off and on. And that's everybody. I mean, I'm not just taking one name. There are only 2 who were not, and those 2 were sidelined. So that proved a good lesson for everyone.
Coming back to the current World Cup, we've seen, and Wasim Raja had said it, and you also sort of referred to that. Ramesh
Ramesh
Raja,
Raja.
sorry, has said it that if Pakistan was winning, none of this would have come out. I want to know why, because the way Pakistan lost, the way it has been losing, the way not losing, the way it has been losing, and also say against India and Afghanistan also. Then is that why you have come out and said this?
नहीं मेरे साथ issue ये but I agree with Ramesh. I
Yeah.
mean, by the way, Ramesh and I went to the same school, the same college, and everything. And though he was a bit senior to me, but we were together, and I've known him since I was 11. So he's right about that. Of course, if you're winning, then it's very difficult to come out with an accusation. Everybody would tear you apart, and nobody would. And especially if you're winning in India,
Yeah.
then you are Hanumans of cricket.
Right.
And I mean, there's no second thought about that. But the fact of the matter is that I am an investigative journalist. When I've been after this, but it took me a long time to get hold of this evidence. The day I got this evidence, that is the day I broke the story. So while Ramesh is right about one thing, it is not right about the other thing, because even if the team was winning, I would have come with it. The day I got my evidence, I would have come out with it. I would have done this. That's not correct. Maybe Ramesh would not, but I would.
Okay.
But it
And
helps me now. It does help me that the team is losing, and the people had a lot of expectation of this team. Now, I'll tell you what expectation is. They never expected to lose to Afghanistan the way it did. They
yeah.
never expected India. They always thought that India-Pakistan match is going to be a close finish. India has a very good mathematical record against Pakistan in the World Cups, but they never thought it would beat it like a schoolboy team. I was practically a schoolboy team in front of the Indian team.
Yeah. So also what you've gone ahead and done is you've named the players. You haven't just limited saying that there are 6, 7 players in the current team. You also haven't said, that Inzamam is there, but you've also named the players. And some of them are big players who have huge fan following, which is Babar Azam. You've named Shaheen, and you've named, all of them. So against all of them also, what is your case that you have against them in that sense? You're saying they're underperforming. You feel that they're not worth the hype that they've had all this while?
No. Have you ever played a game?
Yes.
Which one?
Cricket,
Okay.
basketball.
Cricket is fine. If you played cricket, then at least you understand the game.
Yeah.
Like I believe, and this is my sincere belief, that Shaheen was never fit. Shaheen was never 100% fit even for the Asian Cup, and he shouldn't have played it. I mean, he should have rested himself for the World Cup. But by being incorrect, by giving incorrect and false information, you're jeopardizing the entire team. And there's a reason you're doing that. You're being made to do that. That is what I believe. I mean, I can be wrong. I'm not saying that my allegation or my hunch is correct, but I'm saying that because of the central contract that you have with a certain sponsorship or a sponsor, I mean, that you'll play an X number of international matches and all that, and that sponsor will benefit directly, indirectly, in whatever capacity that will. That is why you're playing it. I mean, I'm saying that even Inzamam Ul Haq, he had no place in the team. Shadab, he has no place in the team, let alone be a vice captain. But they're there for a certain reason, and everybody knows it. Sometimes, and then what happens is that the players were given the permission. They blackmailed the board to get the permission. That is what I'm saying. To play every foreign league. I mean, why do you play foreign leagues, Geeta? You play it for money. Yeah. You play it for nothing else. Money and glamour and whatever that comes with it. Now, when you are playing X number of leagues, your body is totally fatigued out. I mean, you don't have the capacity to perform your best when you're playing for your national team. So if any player in the world, you have to give him a certain rest or her a certain rest. And the body needs certain rest to recoup and recover and all that. But they've been playing endlessly, and the board has been silent, the selectors have been silent, the players have been, enthusiastic. And I'm saying it's a whole web. It's not just one piece per person. It's not one or two people who are responsible. I mean, look at the way, Pakistan coach was hired. Like, he was hired and Mickey, and now he would coach the team on Zoom. On Zoom, it's a physical sport. It's an outdoor sport. How can you coach on the Zoom? Maybe there's random coaching. You can give tips. Maybe you can tell people that I watch your game and this is what you lacked or this is the mistake you made. But you can't coach them regularly on a daily basis on Zoom. Now, when that happens, don't you think there are question marks? Don't you think I'm entitled to ask certain questions? Who's benefiting from this? And at what cost?
You can ask questions and you should ask questions, and everybody needs to ask questions if they feel that, if they know for a fact and they can see the team is not performing. But my question to you would be, there is a reason that because they're playing and they could be fatigued, there could be a reason because asking questions and linking it to a monetary aspect, or asking question and saying board is being blackmailed, that difference needs an evidence.
That board was blackmailed. Look at the way the central contracts were done. A day before the team was to leave for India for the World Cup, they said, we are not leaving unless we get these contracts. So the players said, we are not going to play. That was just before the World Cup. So in steps Mr. Inzaman Ul Haq, and he tells the board not to worry. I'll make sure that the boys play and, they give their best and blah, 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 blah. So, and then he comes back after a while and he says, I've spoken to the players and this is the money that they want. And they said that, but that's a lot. He said, but you have to give it. And you also have to give part of the share that PCB gets from ICC. The proceeds and all that. And that is what also players feel that they're entitled to. So once that was agreed on, then Inzamam threw a bombshell and he asked for a commission for his services. And he went back to the players, and I'm told that he charged a commission from them as well for services. So, this conflict has really helped him. My question to you is, and my question to Inzamam is, why just resign in the middle of it? When the first time I came out with it, you immediately resigned and stepped aside. Come on my show or take me to the court and tell me that I'm wrong. When you do that, you're actually trying for the steam to die out, and so that, everything will be silent. You faced these allegations before, like the Justice Qayyum report you said, and you knew that for a month or so, everybody will talk about it and then you'll forget about it. And 2 victories. Today, if Pakistan is in semi-final, if you're hoping that it does, then a lot of this will not be talked about. And that is what probably Inzamam is hoping for. But my question is, just come and face me. And I'll show you the evidence. And you know the evidence. Or if you don't think it does exist, take me to a court. Let's face it over there.
Yeah, because he's come on one of your television channels and said that, he's not guilty of what he's been accused of. I think he was on one of the shows with
the company. He's not denied the company I named with him.
Okay, he was on a show with where Shahid Afridi is also there as part of the guest panel, and they were congratulating him and telling him that he did the best thing by resigning, and he set high standards by resigning because of being accused, so that he can step aside and the people can investigate and find out if it is true. So over there, he did say that nothing is true. In fact, the anchor asked him, "Aren't you part of the company?" And he said no. So, and now Shahid Afridi, we are given to understand, is likely to be the next.
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
He's trying to fool the people. I'll tell you why. Because that is Samar Television you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shahid works for Samar Television as sports director. You see, when he says, are you a part of that company? No, Inzamam is not a part of that company. Saya International is the company that has player management contracts. And Inzamam is not a part of that company. But the same owner has another company in UK. Inzamam, Rizwan, Inzamam's brother, they're all a part of that company. And that company for years has done nothing. It can't show a business transaction of even 1,000 rupees. So what is the benefit of them over there? They're coming together over there and they are using Saya Corporation, and that is what I believe. I mean, it's a shell company that is controlling the other companies. So technically, yes, he's not a part of the Saya Corporation that has physical contracts with the players. But then he is partners with the person who has those contracts. I mean, what else is a conflict of interest, Geeta?
True.
And that is how they got it. And then they were not signing it because you know why? You know why did it not sign before leaving for India? Because they believed that they were going to sail into the semifinals. I mean, they thought that they were, God's gift to Pakistan cricket, and they were not. And they went and they got exposed, and suddenly this story came out, the one that I've come out with, and everybody was running around. I got messages from Babar Azam and some other people from India. I never spoke to them because I was doing this story and I knew that it is causing a lot of heart attacks to everyone. I got a call from Shahid Afridi only yesterday. He was mentioning about something else, but every cricketer has called me, practically everyone that I know, and there's a lot of them. Now they asked the board that send somebody immediately so that we can sign the contracts. And yesterday the person was there in India, and for them to sign the I mean, what is going on, for God's sake? Now it can't wait for 2 days. Now it can't wait for another 2 weeks, and
But
before they come
why
back.
would the
And
PCB
first,
selector not make them sign the contract?
yeah, now they're signing the contracts.
No, but why didn't they sign before they left? I mean, and why were they revolting and why were they protesting against not coming to play?
What I'm saying, the player power, the sponsor power, the money power. That is what I said at the outset, Geeta. And the simple thing is that, tell me one thing: how many chief selectors were there in India for the World Cup? I mean, you had so many teams, X number of teams. How many chief selectors were there? Only one.
Yeah.
Inzamam. I mean, why? What is it that you find it necessary to be over there as a chief selector? You selected your team and you sent them. Now it is up to the local committee over there, the captain and the manager and the coach and whoever chooses the playing 11. Why do you have to be there when no other chief selector of any other team is there? I mean, are you doing things that nobody can even dream of? Why won't we object? Why won't we ask questions? Why would you find it hurting? And why would you find it, demoralizing? Mickey Arthur should know he could never uplift the morale of the team because he was always on Zoom. He's not with them.
You also talked very specifically have mentioned in one of your videos about Inzaman Ul Haq having some business interests in India and also, visiting India very often. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm probing about that. I said I'm probing about that, and it has been pointed out to me by many people, by at least 3 people, and I'm trying to gather evidence about that. And the day I do, I will tell you.
Now, we are given to understand that Mr. Shahid Afridi is in line for being the next in place. What can you tell us about that? Is that?
I spoke to him yesterday. He called me actually himself yesterday, and he denied anything. But I believe that he is, and I believe that he's trying for it. And he met the Prime Minister yesterday, and it could be for any reason. It could be to save Inzamam. It could be to replace Zaka. I mean, it could be, but I wouldn't blame him. I mean, you have a right, I have a right. Anybody has a right to,
Yeah.
look high and be there. Why not? I mean, that's not my issue. My issue is my story, and that is where, I'm focusing on.
And what about the PCB chairman? After all, I believe Mr. Asif Zardari was very keen that he become the PCB chairman at one point in time, which is when he became. What is his status, and what is his role in all of this?
Well, there are many accusations, and I'm probing them as well, but they've come out on the media, so I can share with you that Zaka Ashraf's son has been controlling the board and the player affairs, and he's the one who's actively involved in the team selection and different appointments and everything. And he's been blamed for a lot of corruption and wrongdoing. And I believe Mr. Zaka Ashraf himself is now facing serious questioning by the accountability board. And Zaka Ashraf is a totally political appointment. Nothing about that, but he's been mired with a lot of corruption charges as well. No doubt about that as well. So I think he'll be under serious scrutiny after the 5th.
Do you feel that what you're doing right now will help Pakistan cricket, or will it be just another blimp and it'll disappear?
It's not that I'm out to help Pakistan cricket. A, I'm doing my job. B, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And C, yes, I hope that Pakistan cricket is helped because of that. But now, um, the story has really become very big. I mean, look, you're calling me from India today, and it was just a podcast, as you said, that I did. But every channel in the country has been at it, for or against, but they can't ignore it. And right now, until today, nobody has come out. Nobody, not a single person has come out and said Mubasher Lucman's claims of Inzamam being a shareholder and a partner with this guy, XYZ, are wrong. Nobody's refuted that. So, yes, I believe that I'm doing good for the Pakistan team. And inshallah, something good will come out of it.
So now coming back to the World Cup again, all of this is playing out in the media. You have been, there's videos, there's accusations, the PCB selectors step down. How is all of this impacting on the players, and how do you see Pakistan's chances from here on in the World Cup?
If every team in the World Cup, they decide to go for a collective suicide, then Pakistan will win the World Cup. So that's on. I mean, if there is no team, then of course we win the World Cup.